Hey everyone, this video I'm going to talk about the USB webcam I got about a month ago, the SVPRO. So first part, I'm going to go through my overall thoughts and I'm going to hit on a lot of different things I tried. Second is the focus test. Third, software I used. Fourth part, I'm going to just do general info and a wrapping up of the whole video. So my overall thoughts. I really like this camera. It's on the cheaper end, but I kind of tend to do standard definition kind of work. I haven't got over 720p yet. I mean, the videos I'm doing now are 720, but as far as like the little main box you see, let me switch it over here to full 720p. So I am working with 720p, but I like to kind of shrink things a little bit. Don't have to use the main box all the time. I like the background and stuff. So overall, I think for the average person, it kind of reminds me of standard definition, like the Sony Super 8 video cameras. There is some kind of scan lines, well, not scan lines, but artifacts. Since it does deliver the MJPEG, motion JPEG, the quality isn't as crisp, although like in dark circumstances, you'll really notice it. In bright situations, and it's not really that bright in here, I've got a 40-watt bulb. It does okay. It has a place where you can open and close the lens to make it darker, brighter, and it's on the open right now. So it's really easy to use, to handle, to set up the camera. That's the one thing I like is, that'll fit my hand. So like the Super 8s, they have the autofocus, but those are heavy. So this is it's still a little, it's like half the or more the weight of like a Sony Handycam. So overall, I really like the output. It doesn't have autofocus. You have to focus it yourself. So if I put my hand out, it's not going to autofocus. But it's good for situations if you're like focusing on a single object, that kind of thing. Or you can zoom all the way out and it just kind of has an infinite kind of a focus, which coming up close or far away, it still keeps a real good general focus. So I like it for standard definition stuff. If you want something higher quality, even the 720p that I'm doing now, I really recommend, and I haven't, well, I guess I shouldn't recommend because I don't have these yet. I'm soon to purchase some more SVPRO stuff or ELP, and they're more in the $80 range. They're supposed to be 8 megapixel. 8 megapixel. But this is just, the frame rate is not as good for the 720p. I think the software is making this look a lot better. And I'll get into that in the software portion. So here is a look at the full screen of it. That's without all my background and that kind of thing. So it focuses really nice. Of course, I've got it in low light, and really, I probably should be getting to the focus test because since I'm talking about low light, I've got a lamp, a real bright, and I'm not sure what the wattage is on here, but it's really bright, as you can see. And as I turn it off and on, there's very little that changes. And this is a real bright light. If you look right into it, it will really hurt your eyes. So the changes to the light, it kind of levels everything out. So that's a plus. That's a plus for a lot of people, I should say. So let me get into, like I promised, the focus test. And the light was part of that. I'm going to go, as you can see, I'm fiddling with the camera now. I'm turning down or off the, what would you call it, the aperture or the closure. So all the way off, there's still a little bit of light that goes through the camera. So I'm going to turn this all the way up, and it kind of does its own little like white balance kind of thing. So this is halfway, this is at the bottom, so I'm going to go turn it all the way up. So it kind of does its own little changes, and that could be the software, I'm not sure. Focusing, zooming in and out. Let's really zoom it in here. I think this is, okay, this is all the way zoomed as far as I can go. Okay, I need to focus this. There we go. So this is about, I would say, 3.5 to 4 feet away from my computer screen, as you can tell by the little grains you can see in the video. So that's not too bad. That's a pretty good focus. I won't focus out all the way. I'll focus back. Okay, that's all the way. I think I'm going to focus that back in. There we go. Maybe a little bit further. All right, that's a pretty good picture of my screen there. So it gets pretty much my whole desk. All right, I kind of did the focus there. Let me see. Yeah. So it gets the door. It gets my mic and everything. So I'm not exactly sure how the distance that is. But it gives you a lot of options here. The only thing is, fiddling with this thing might take away from, oops. Like if I've just got a mic stand, and it's kind of, when I mess around with the focus, you can kind of see that it'll move around. But I have it attached pretty securely, but the mic itself is, going off the rails there. So let me see. Focus test. I hope that was enough for you guys to kind of see what's going on. Now here we get, whenever I jump a page, you can tell the now the frame rate's kicking in to where it's it's probably around 10 frames a second. I don't think, before, when I first started the video, it didn't look so jerky. So now it kind of is, since I messed with probably the focus and such. But it was a lot better quality at first. So now you can really tell the lag time there. So that's the software doing that. Probably if I wouldn't have messed with it, it'd probably be a better frame rate. Software. I used this software on the camera itself. Just plugged it into my laptop. It's a dual core. I used Virtual Dub, and it went right away to MJPEG 720p, and I had it outside, and I might attach that to the end of this video. But the just focusing at a house and trees, it looked great. It looked fantastic. But as you can see, when you're actually like pointing at something, it does look really slow. So that's the software I used on it for the initial test, and I had a dual core Windows 7, and it looked really good. I'll attach that on. So, it was like 24 frames a second. So it seemed to get a little bit better frame rate using Virtual Dub than on this program. This program seemed to change the frame rate after a while. But this software I'm using right now, it was supposed to have it up to 24 or 30 frames a second, and it was for a while until I messed with the camera. So, yeah, Virtual Dub I used, and so I better just go to the general information now. Let's go back. All right. Here we go. It says it's a 2 megapixel camera. So I probably recommend the 8 megapixel. That sounds like a much better deal for $80. But since I do, standard definition, I thought I'd try it. So yeah, when you get down to 740 by 480 here, it's 30 frames a second. And even, once you jump up to 800 by 600, it goes to 20 frames a second. And I thought that was an okay trade-off. But anything over than that, over and above that, the 960 by 720, that is 15 frames a second. And the 720p is 10 frames a second. So it will work on Linux 2.6, Windows XP, and above. So that's nice. There's an operating temperature of minus 30 degrees Celsius and 70. What is that? Minus 70 degrees Celsius. Okay. It consumes 5 volts. Very nice camera. Of course, it depends on what kind of software you're using. But I love this camera. But I think I will get the 8 megapixel one to show you guys. But for the price, it's not too bad for all the little stuff I do. Let me see here. All right. The cord is, what is it, about 8 feet long or 6? No, it's more than 6 feet. It's more than 6 feet long. I like that because to get to a PC or a laptop, or especially for a desktop or something, you need that length because the last video I did, the Zenix Q502, I needed that distance to focus in on the product on my desktop, my mixer. What else can I say about this? What kind of problems did I have? I really didn't have any problems installing this. The drivers are pretty generic. I think the biggest thing for you all will be the quality. Oh, that's another thing. When you use, and in post-production, I would put on some kind of noise filter, and that will clean up any really weird looking color or noise. that this camera puts off, because the output is kind of like the Sony, like it's just a Sony videotape, the old 8mm tapes you'd get back in the 90s. It has that kind of output, but a noise filter can really go a long way to clean up that stuff. And just look, if you want to see a cleaned up version, go to the Behringer Xenix Q502 USB mixer. It was the last video I did, and I put a noise filter on that. So if you know software at all, and post-production, use a noise filter. And maybe I will put a video from my other channel, and it just deals with software. I might do a whole other video just on the software portion, all the stuff I use. But that's on Gamma Phased. That's my YouTube channel, Gamma Phased. And that just deals with software. So hopefully if I make one, I will put it up in the corner so you can check that out. Software I used. So little details about it. I already think I went through the performance part. 640 by 480, that's the only way you're going to get the 30 frames a second. And then it goes to 20 frames for the 800 by 600. Nice little camera, just for quick little videos. It's not too bad. Oh, you'll need a the screw you'll need is a 6mm by 20mm. I guess the length doesn't really matter. It's a 6mm screw to attach that, so it's metric. So I just went out and got one just to attach it to my mic stand or camera stand. What else? Oh yeah. I think since it's a CCT surveillance camera, I think it has a built-in infrared. I've got an infrared light here, and if this was a normal camera, it would not show that being bright. It'd just be a little red spot. So I think this has some infrared capability. Don't quote me on that, but it's not very good. I think that's maybe why when there's a bright light with this little old lamp style, you can't really see. You know, I'm moving the light forward. You can a little bit, but this is a pretty bright. Let me turn it into the camera. Yeah, it adjusts to your lighting. So I hope all the cameras have that of this type. So stay tuned for my next one. Hopefully I can get the $80 version one, so I can kind of show you that. I'm itching to get that one. Any questions on the SVPRO or things you've noticed, put them down in the comments. It might be a while before I get one of these cameras. It might be a couple months from now or longer. So I'm kind of happy with kind of the results I'm getting from it, since I can kind of compensate a little bit of the noise through software to kind of tame that down. I think that's it. If you have any suggestions on what I need to touch on this camera, go ahead and put them down in the comments, and I think I'll leave it right there. Keep coming back for more great videos, and catch you next time.